Figs played. And in the background of this picture is Brad staring at the camera with like his usual like, and Cindy. And so for like 18 years, every time I go to my mom's, like time passes, my dad passed away, things happen, and Brad's there. And it was weird because, you know, there's like this very recurring presence of a person who I really have no contact with. And so my time with Brad was a weird time for me. It was like 25 to 28. I was in this band Shake Appeal. He recorded our record at the barn, and then we pestered him just mercilessly to manage us. I don't think he really wanted to. I'm not exactly sure, but we were like, dude, you gotta do it. You manage the Figs. You can take us to the next level. And so he finally agreed to do that. And he was like the guy who I was depending on at a very strange time in my life, and probably he's had to deal with this with other people too, where you've got this guy and you're like, he's gonna take me to the next level. And you're 26, 27, 28, and you're like, maybe I'm not gonna get to the next level. What am I gonna do with my life if the thing that all I've ever wanted to do is just not gonna happen? And so he had to deal with all of that baggage. For me, I don't know from other people who he managed or he recorded. And he was able to take that heat. Hold on one second, I'm turning the page. I wish I had a teleprompter, but I don't. Next time. But anyway, back to the theme that everybody's been sort of discussing here. You know, we all learned a lot from him up there. And here, I'm just gonna give you a list of things that I learned from Brad. So the first thing is that you can record a great record anywhere. If you've got the right guy, who's got good taste. Like, I remember walking up to that bar the first time and just being like, what the fuck is this? What have we done? And then it's actually one of my favorite sounding records that we've ever recorded. And it had nothing to do with the equipment, it had to do with Brad. He knew what sounded good, he made stuff sound good. And to this day, like, I'm always amazed when I think about what gear did he have? And he really had nothing in it, a Yamaha console and a 1-inch, like 16 track. It shouldn't have worked, and it always did. Two, I miss this to this day, the fact that you could go downstairs and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at any time at Brad's. That there was a thing of Wonder Bread and peanut butter and jelly in the middle of a mix, whatever. That was the greatest quality of life. Like, forget the power station. That was the greatest amenity of any studio I've ever been in. And I don't even do it at my studio now, which is lame. Three, and this probably doesn't work in the smartphone age, his idea of leaving a pile of Cream magazines and hit paraders from the 70s in his control room was like the best band control mechanism I've ever seen. Because I don't know what it was about those, and I think I read every one 5 times. You know, you're like, whoa, Slade, whoa. Have I read this before? Yeah, but it's Slade, and they're saying cool stuff. And you would actually leave him alone when he was mixing. And it was like the perfect distraction for musicians. The fourth thing, and this is something I learned watching him, and this may get a little real, so I apologize, but that honesty can also be a form of aggression. And I learned from him that watching him sort of in his interactions, that maybe that isn't actually always the way to go. You know, he said a couple things to me when he was managing our band, like, look, I'm gonna manage plenty of bands, but you only have one career, so do whatever you want. That was one. The second one was we did a showcase, and afterwards I'm like, what'd the guy think? And he said, the guy said I should manage better bands. Yeah, I mean, and then the third one was after the band Shake Appeal fell apart, I played him some new stuff I was working on, and he was like, I can't manage this. And so, you know, these are things that And we probably, all of us who work with Brad have these things. We loved him, and then there's things that like, I can still, when I'm saying these things, I can feel everybody getting a little even uncomfortable. Like, I'm like sweating a little because I remember when he said those things. And they really hurt, even though in all cases he was right. The fifth thing I learned from him, and it's the final thing because I know time is short, is when Brad calls you up and he goes, Tom? Yeah. There's an all-female garage rock band coming up this weekend to record, and they have a guy mixing, so I don't have to do anything. You guys should come up and hang out. When he says that, when Brad says that, you say yes. Because the drummer from that band could end up being the love of your life and your wife for 18 years. So, thank you, Brad, for, basically creating my life. The last thing, and I'll get off here and we'll keep going, is I want to actually apologize to Brad, because in the sort of back to the honesty aggression thing, years after I was in the band, and I was a pretty successful magazine editor guy, he sent me the manuscript of his book, which was like a memoir. And given how well spoken he was, and then he was like Cicero this, Cicero that, Catullus, boom, 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 I thought it was gonna be great. And I read it and it wasn't. Like, as well as he could speak, it did not come through in the writing. And I don't know if it was like a revenge thing or like I've got my opportunity, I just kind of was like, yeah, this isn't that good. And looking back on it, I feel bad about that all the time. He worked really hard to like make my music dreams come true, even if they may or may not have, and I should have done the same for him. So, sorry, Brad, and we miss you. Later. Thank you.
Tom Beaujor.